everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassie. Thank you for joining me. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare some elderberry syrup. As I told you, as the seasons change, I usually get everything prepared September, like the first, second week of September, usually the first week. And then I'm ready for the cold and flu season. So as you guys know, elderberry syrup is known for being a powerful cold preventative remedy. All right, this is like saying 1 cup of these dried elderberries, or if you have the fresh elderberries or frozen elderberries, they have about 58% of the recommended daily dose of vitamin C. Right. It's been used for years to treat common colds, flu, fight inflammation, basically just support the healing of the immune system. So it also promotes heart and blood vessel health, brain health, as well as including a boost for focus as well as memory. So there's a lot of benefits to eating elderberries or preparing elderberry syrup. Okay, so I'm going to prepare this today. What I'm going to need is going to be 8 cups of water, because I'm working with the dried organic whole sambucas elderberries. So you need 4 cups of the dried elderberries and 8 cups of water. Now, if you were using fresh or frozen elderberries, of course they have more. They're gonna have juice. So you would use 8 cups of the berries and then one cup of water, because once you cook them down, the juice, the liquid that's in them is gonna compensate. So I'm using dried. So I need 8 cups of water. Because with the dried ones, you have to rehydrate them. All right, so I need 8 cups of water. So I have my 8 cups of water. And you're gonna do this over a medium to low heat. You don't want the water to actually boil. You want it to be over like I said, a medium to low heat. So usually I put it on about 5, no higher than 6. 5 to 6 should be medium heat on just about any stove. All right, and you do want it to be a medium to low heat, not a boil. All right, so then I'm going to add 4 cups of the dried elderberry. So basically, you're just going to let it simmer. So this bag, which is, and I actually ordered this off Amazon, and this is a 1 pound bag, of course, and that gives you 4 cups of the dried elderberries. All right. So I'm going to place them in the water. And again, you want this to simmer. A lot of people don't like elderberry syrup. I love it. I've tried the gummies, but I prefer the syrup because it's more potent, and anything that's in a liquid form, it's automatically entered into the system. So I'm just going to gently stir these. And now while they're simmering, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to stir these, and you're going to push them against the side of your pan and like just mash them, especially if you have fresh or frozen. You definitely have to do that. All right. And these are dried, so of course you know you can do it, but you're rehydrating them with the water that you're actually introducing into it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let this simmer. And once it's ready, I'm then going to add all of the spices that I need to add. And the spices are going to be 2 sticks of cinnamon. And then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of organic cloves. Now everything is organic. The elderberries were organic. I'm using organic cloves. I'm also going to add, you can add 2 to 3 of the star anise. I'm going to add 3. You need 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger, and I do peel it, and you grate it. You need 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. And then this is going to cook down for roughly about 30 minutes. And it depends now. Sometimes it'll take 30 minutes, sometimes 45, sometimes it may take an hour, and then in some cases it may take 2 hours. It just depends on what you consider to be your medium to low heat on your stove. And I will say the slower the better, right? So have patience. You can set this once it comes to a simmer and add your herbs in it, and then you can go and do other things, but don't forget about it. And because you're going to have to come back and especially if you have the fresh berries or frozen, you're going to have to come back and stir it. All right, so I'm going to let this simmer and add all my herbs, and then I'm going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes, and I'll keep checking it. And then once it's ready, you take it off and you let it cool, but you don't let it cool to where it's cold, because you need to leave it warm enough to where you can touch it. Because you're gonna take a cheesecloth and you're gonna need a separate bowl to collect in, and you're gonna need a strainer, right? Or you can use a colander, and you're gonna take it and put your berries and stuff and dip it into your cheesecloth and let it flow through, because you want to separate the liquid from the solids. And then in the end, you're gonna squeeze it out to make sure you get all of your elderberry syrup out of it, and you want to set up your jars. Now I have already boiled my mason jars and lids, and I placed them in the oven, and I let them stay on a low heat so they stay warm as well, so that I'm not introducing anything hot into like a cold vessel, a cold container, and it's like a shock. And also the lids, they're also kept in the oven. And then once you have everything sealed, when you transfer your elderberry syrup to your mason jars or whatever container you store it in, and you screw the lid on, you're going to put it and you're going to boil it in hot water for like 10 minutes for it to actually seal. All right. Some people leave theirs on the counter and wait to hear the pop. I'm traditional. I put mine in just a boiler and let it, or you can, whatever it is that you do your boils in, you put it in for 10 minutes and then take it out, let it sit on the counter, then you wait for the pop. And then you're ready to store them for future use. You can also add honey, 16 to 24 ounces of honey to your elderberry syrup. That's why when you take it off and let it cool, you don't let it get really cold. You let it get cool enough to where you can actually touch it, and then you're going to add your 16 to 24 ounces of your honey to it. And remember, you want it to be local honey, as local as possible. And then you're going to mix it, because when it's warm, the honey mixes very well with it. If you wait till it's cold, your honey is not going to mix with it. You're going to have to heat it back up and then add it to it. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to place you on a pause while this simmers. And when it's time to add the herbs to it, I will bring you back. So be patient. I'll be right back with you. Okay, everyone. It's simmering. So I did turn it down just a little. I'm like slow and steady is what I'm going for. Like I said, you don't want to boil. All right, so now, and make sure that you wear gloves when you are working with this, because everything's going to be purple. And I use a wooden flat spatula for pressing against the side, especially if you have the fresh or frozen berries. And also in the end, when I'm using my cheesecloth, I wear gloves in the end step when I use it for, to actually strain and drain everything. You make sure that you're wearing gloves. All right. So now I'm ready to add my herbs. So as I stated, I need 2 whole sticks of cinnamon. So I need 2 whole cinnamon sticks. I need to add a half of a teaspoon of organic cloves. As you can see, organic cloves. And I love cloves. Cloves, star anise, these are some of my favorites. Right. So I'm going to add that. And then I want to add 2 to 3 whole star anise. And this just takes you back when you smell these. Let me pour this up. Sorry about that, I had to open them. So I need to add 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And these are the, as I said, the star anise. And these smell really, really good. I love cloves, anise, cinnamon, and ginger together. All right. So the next thing I'm going to add is going to be my grated fresh ginger. So this is 1 tablespoon, so you're going to need 2 tablespoons of it. And I've already grated it. So as you guys can see, I have my fire cider going. Now I'm going to have my elderberry syrup. And that's why I didn't put elderberry in my fire cider, is because I always make my elderberry syrup. And in the end, you can take the solid products that's left. This is my 2nd tablespoon of ginger. You can take the solid particles left from the elderberry syrup, and you can actually add that to your fire cider, or you can use it to like dehydrate it and then use it as to make teas, or you can just simply put it in your compost, whatever you like to do. I don't add it to my fire cider because I do blueberries, and then I make the elderberry syrup, and I drink it as well. So everything is making sure you strengthen your immunity. All right, and I do it the natural way. All right, so I have everything added. I have my grated fresh ginger. I have my 3 star anise. Now the star anise is optional. If you don't want to use these, you don't have to. I do, because I just love it, and I love the aroma that it gives off when it's mixed with the elderberry, the cinnamon, and also the cloves. It's just, you know. And then in the end, as I said, once you take it off and let it cool, cool enough where you can touch it when you're using your cheesecloth, then you can add your honey to it. All right. So now that I have everything incorporated into it, I'm just gonna sit and let it simmer. Stirring it, you know, occasionally I'll come and just stir it around a couple times, and I'm gonna let everything simmer. Now the key to it is that you need to eyeball where the level of 8 cups of water is in your boiler, because you want to boil it down until it's about half the volume of the liquid that you started with. So you want to have about 4 cups. And then once you get to that point, that's when you're ready to start straining and preparing your syrup and storing it in your mason jars or your container. All right, so mark your pan or eyeball where 8 cups are, and then when you get to about 4 cups, which is halfway, that's when you take it off and you're ready to do your transfer. All right, so I'm going to place you on a pause while this does the process that it needs to do, and I will pick you up when it's, or I'll bring you back into the video when it's time to transfer this to my mason jars that are in the oven heating up. I'm making sure that they're warm too. So we'll get this process going. So be patient. Hello everyone, I'm back. So we have boiled these down until it's like half of the volume I started with. Of course, by it being purple, you can see it really good on the inside of the pan, and you can also mark your pan on the outside if you would like. So we're at half of the volume of the liquid that we actually started with, as you can see. So now I'm going to turn the eye off, and I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to allow it to like cool. Not completely cool to where it's like cold, but just cool enough that I can touch it and I can actually start to strain it. So you're gonna need 3 things. You're gonna need your bowl that you're gonna use to catch your transfer liquid. You're gonna need a colander. I'm using the mesh one. And you're gonna need a cheesecloth, or you can get like a flour, like the flour sacks. Whatever you have on hand will work, or like a nut bag, that'll work as well. So what you're gonna do is you can, when this cools down, you can scoop it out and place it in here, and then you can mash down. Now if you have a potato masher, you can use that also when you're boiling it to like mash the fresh and frozen. And then when you place it in your strainer, you can actually use that to press down to get some of the liquid out. You can put anything on it and like press down to like press it through, but you don't want to collect any of the solid like of the berries. You just want the liquid. So you can put, like take your cheesecloth and you can like, or your nut bag or whatever you have, and kind of like line it in your bowl, and then you're going to scoop it in. And I leave one part out on this side because I don't need all of this in case I need to switch sides and use this side for whatever reason. So then you're gonna put everything in, then you'll pick everything up and you're gonna hold it. And this is where you let it cool to touch, because you're gonna have to take your hand and squeeze out the remaining syrup that's in here. So you don't want it too hot because you don't want any burns. And also in this step, you wanna make sure that you wear gloves. Because this will definitely dye your hands for about 2 or 3 days. So you want to make sure that you wear gloves in this step. If not, your hands are going to be purple. You're going to be a smurf for a couple of days, or partial smurf. Alright, so this is ready, and I'm just going to let everything cool, and then once it cools and I transfer it here, well, cool enough to touch, I'm going to add my honey to it, mix it up, and then I'll be ready to store it. So I'm going to place you on a pause while this kind of cools down a little, and I'll pick you back up when it's time to go through the final step. Alrighty, cool enough to touch, so we're ready to do the transfer. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my soup spoon, and I'm going to scoop this up, and I'm going to transfer this over. And you kind of spread it out, and you just let it drain, as you can hear. just scoop it and I kind of push it around. You can hear it draining into my stainless steel pan. And again, you can kind of press these and you get it in here, and this helps to release your syrup. And it just depends on how you want to do it. If you want to take your hand and do it, you can. It's really up to you. How you're gonna transfer it. I like to do mine. I like to scoop it and kind of spread it around my cheesecloth or your nut bag or your flour sack, whichever you use, because they all will give you the same thing. The end result is that you just want something to separate the liquids from the solids so that you can extract your syrup. And now I'm at a point to where I can just pour this in. And then I use the spoon and I just press it against the sides and press it down and just let it drain. And I let this sit here and drain for a few minutes before I actually squeeze it out. I'll let as much of it that could drain on its own drain. And again, make sure you wear gloves, because if not, you'll be purple for about 2 to 3 days and maybe even longer. Because when you boil these elderberries, the liquid that comes off is very concentrated. It's like I said, it's 58% of the daily allowance of vitamin C. So you know it's very, it gets more and more concentrated when you actually boil them to do the extraction. All right. So most of this is out. It's still just a little in here. So you don't want to clog your, so you kind of loosen them up so that it can actually freely drain. And like I said, with this, I will let this sit for a few minutes before I actually squeeze everything out of my cloth, just to let it do its own thing. So I'm going to place you on a pause while this takes place, and then we'll come back and we'll be ready to squeeze it out, add our honey to it, and place it in the jars. So hold on just a moment. Okay guys, I'm back. So now we're going to take it through the last few steps. All right. So now we're just going to pick up the cloth, and I just take it. That's why I leave so much out on the other side, because I wrap it around and then I just simply twist it. Now everybody has their way, but I kind of like twist it, and as you can see, you get more and more of the syrup out of the berries. So I just keep twisting and keep twisting. And you can also just, you know, take your hand and mash it. And I do it, and I try to be patient because I really don't want to make a huge mess, because this stuff is purple and it's a deep purple and it's hard to get it out. So then I'm going to open it up. Now I'm going to take out the cinnamon sticks. And again, you can like kind of loosen it up and kind of squeeze it with your hand as well to get the last little bit out. It's very concentrated. Now everybody has a different recipe. Some people do 1-to-1, but remember when you're dealing with the fresh and frozen berries, you don't need a lot of water because of course you know they have the liquid in them and they're gonna make the syrup. But if they're dried, you have to like use more water. Okay. All right, I just spread it out and I do the same thing again. I pick it up and I'm going to twist it. Now it's a good thing to try to kind of spread it out a little bit in your container or in your nut bag, your cheesecloth, or whatever you use to strain. And it's just, you just twist it and just squeeze. There's nothing fancy. You can be as cute as you want to be doing it, or you can, you know, just do it. I just try to keep it as clean as I can so I don't have this stuff everywhere. Alright, so I think I've mastered the task here. Seems to be pretty dry. Alright. I mean, you're not going to get everything, but you get as much as you can out of it. Alright. So now that I have my syrup, I'll transfer that over. And then, of course, I'll wipe this up right quick. Alright. Okay. So now I'm going to remove these gloves because I don't need them anymore. So as I said earlier, I have the jars in the oven, and I've been had it on warm the whole time. So now I'm going to take my beaker and I'm going to, oh, I forgot to add my honey. I need to add a half a cup of honey. Now I don't want mine too sweet, but I'm gonna add a half a cup of honey, and you can add anywhere 16 to 24 ounces if you would like. A half a cup is good enough for me. If you want to add a cup, you may add a cup. Okay. And remember to add it to it when it's warm. And then you're going to stir it in and make sure that it mixes in with your elderberry syrup. I just use my wooden spatula and I just stir it in. I'm gonna place you on a brief pause while I take all this out of the oven. Okay, I've taken my jars out and I've transferred the elderberry juice to the beaker, and now I'm going to transfer it to my jars. And I'm just gonna, I fill mine up just until the neck, just below the rim. So I actually have 2 pints. So then I'm going to place the lid on it. And I did soak these, I boiled these in hot water, and then I placed it in the oven to keep them warm. And I'm going to screw the lid on and seal these. This one seems like it doesn't want to go on flat. Okay, there we go. All right, this I'm going to transfer to a different container. All right, so I have these on. Let me place you on a pause while I get my boiler. Alright guys, so you place your jars in the water and let the water be about 1 to 2 inches above the top of your container. And then you're going to boil it for 15 minutes at the max. Then you take your pan off the eye, let it cool, and you remove them and let them sit on a rack or on a towel to cool. And then you are ready to store them. A lot of times people just sit them on the counter and wait on the lids to pop. But when you pull them out of your hot water and you sit them here, if you press down on the middle, you can hear it pop. Well, this one's not ready yet, but it's getting there. You can hear it pop, and that lets you know that they are ready. Now, if they don't pop, if you don't hear that pop sound, then you need to place this in the refrigerator and you need to use it within, I would say, a week or 2. Because it's going to start to go bad. Right? So that's my elderberry. It popped. That's my elderberry syrup. And I prepared mine from dried elderberries. Now, what you do with the leftover pulp, you can take that leftover pulp and you can put it in your compost. You can take it and you can steep it and make like a dilute elderberry tea. You can take it and put it in your dehydrator and you can dry it, and you can use it when you use loose leaf tea. You can add it to it. And also if you make fire cider, you can take the pulp and you can actually add that to your fire cider. But I always do blueberries in my fire cider, and then I prepare my individual, elderberry syrup because I use both of them. All right, so that's my tip for today. Thank you guys for coming along. If you're a subscriber, as I always say, thank you. I greatly appreciate you, new and old. If you are someone who just stopped by, something caught your attention, we thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will also consider to subscribe. I ask everyone to like, comment, and share my videos. Once again, we want to keep the positive vibes going, so always treat others the way you would like to be treated, because as I always say, we never know what people are actually going through in their day-to-day lives. So your positivity may be the only positivity that they encounter, and it could be a change for them that day, and it could prevent anything from happening. Who knows? So as I said, always treat others the way you want to be treated. Always motivate yourself, inspire yourself, encourage yourself, and uplift yourself so that you can do the same thing to others. Thanks again for coming along with me on this elderberry syrup prep. I thank you guys. I will see you on the next bake, no bake, prep, cook, DIY, apothecary. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.